Hello, friends. So this is part two. Probably, well, not probably, part two in a two-part series. So this probably be the last time I talk in length, or have a video dedicated to Sedona Retreat. So this is regarding my experiences at the 2025 Sedona Awakened Immersed Retreat. So in the last video, I talk about like the structure and how it ran and everything like that. But this one, I guess, is going to be about my journey through this process or through the retreat. So I guess um, it should start before I left. Kevin had asked us to set intentions for what we wanted to have happen or achieve or accomplish or whatever. And my goal was to not have any expectations. I did not set any intentions. So I thought, um, so I thought, my goal was to go there with an open mind and an open heart and allow whatever to happen and let it be that. And so when I actually got to the retreat, I just remember having um, a feeling of like just slight disappointment. Like I just noticed that I kept noticing the difference in everything and feeling a little disappointed by it. And I mean, it was right away. Um, there were some changes in the facility, like just minor changes, but it caught my eye and I felt disappointed. Saw some of the people, noticed they've changed or they weren't the same as last time. Caught my attention and luckily, well not I think I know, luckily I was able to catch myself. And this is probably like the first night. Actually, it was the first night. Um, Not even through the whole night. It was like maybe partially through the opening ceremony. I noticed I noticed that like this ongoing theme of feeling a little disappointed. And so I looked into it. I always go down rabbit holes, but I'm not afraid anymore to look in the mirror and take a deep dive and question why I'm feeling a certain way when I don't want to feel a certain way. And so once I realized, like, oh, you're feeling disappointed. And then so I was able to like find a little space where I could, go down this rabbit hole and try to figure out why I felt disappointed. And it was because I had expectations. I wanted things to be great just like they were the last time. And I think the emphasis was the last time. And so um it was almost like I wanted everything to be the same. And in thinking that or realizing that, I realized how could anything be the same when you're not even the same? Um, out of after the first retreat, so many things changed. Um, I don't even look at things the same anymore. Um, and imagine 49 other people having that same experience. So then why would anything be the same, right? And I was like, wow, that's really unfair. Like you just put people in a box and didn't allow them or the facility to be who they are because you were stuck in where they were. And it was nice to go through that so early in the process, because once I realized what I was doing, I let go of that, and it made for a really awesome event, or it just allowed things to happen, probably the way they were supposed to be. It really feels like this retreat for me was, well, maybe part of it, because I mean, I'm still processing. I still feel like I might be doing this video a little too early, only because everything hasn't really, not everything, but some things, it just feels a little bit unsettled. But I can go into that a little bit more later. But it feels like a completion. And I thought that it had to do with the Reiki um events. Like, I did 1 and 2 the last time, and then I came back for 3, 4, uh, master teacher or whatever it's called. And I don't mean to say it like, being dismissive, but I just felt like it wasn't so much about completing the process, because I don't feel like my purpose here is to become a Reiki teacher and have students under me or anything like that. It was about uh, opening up, becoming attuned, completing a process. Um, I think a lot of times I haven't done that. I haven't like completed a process, or gone all the way through with something. And so I think like part of it was that, but I realized that it wasn't just that. And if anything, that might be maybe one of the smaller things, um, as to why I came to this event. There were so many, there was like a lot of little things that happened. So like one of them was, I don't know why, but I just felt like I had a focus on time. And it was like comparing time in home or real world versus time in the retreat. And time in the retreat, it doesn't, well, in the real world, it's held by like minutes, seconds, hours, days and weeks, right? So there's like a structure that we've created for ourselves to like move through the day. But at the retreat, it actually felt like time was held by moments and experiences. And yeah, we had an itinerary, we had a schedule that was set for us, and it was like broken down by hours. Um, Time, the traditional time, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like things were structured by moments. So, like, you were to go to, well, for me, I was to go and have a moment with Debbie, and then after that, um, I was to go to have a moment with Kevin, or even in the transition, like, um, going to lunch. We would break from class, and then there was like a break, we go to lunch, and that's a whole different experience where you're talking and sharing things that you observed in class, or things back home, what you know what you felt, what came to you. That's how it felt like time was structured, or how time moved. And I started thinking, like, I wonder if that's what it's like in spirit. you know um when you watch like the psychic mediums on their shows, oh, when is this gonna happen? And it's like it's not clear. Like, I hear the number two, that could mean 2 days, 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever, 2 years. Probably not 2 years. Doesn't like I understand that, because it works the same. Like, sometimes you see something in the distance and it's to mean that it's going to happen in the future. Or sometimes you feel like, oh, in summer, like in this season, this will happen. Or maybe you get a month or something, but time just moves different. um and so that's what I experienced. It was like, yeah, it was just something crazy. Well, not crazy in a bad way, but it was interesting because it made me think like, how, gosh, it's just like another instance of how man has warped things to, I don't know if it's to like pull us away from spirit for whatever reason. Maybe it's because we're not supposed to be like fully connected so that we can have the full experience here on earth that we signed up for, or if it was about control. But I don't like to think of life like that. Maybe it is that way for control and stuff like that, but I just don't want to sign up to that narrative like I'm always being in control. I would like to think like I have choice over myself and the way I want to perceive things and the way I want to move on this earth. But yeah, I just thought that you know, I had noticed, well, maybe it's just for me that felt like that, but time moved different, and it just felt like we were going from one experience or one moment to the next, because it was like it literally was like I was having a moment every day, or not one moment, but several. So it was like in class, I had a moment. Out of class, had a moment. Going to lunch, had a moment, had an experience. Going to the next class, another experience. So it's like I'm having like 17 different different experiences, and then some are just like they keep coming up. They keep coming up. There's like um repetitive themes, and I'll touch on that a little bit more later. But like constant themes keep coming back uh for this big buildup, and then but yeah, anyway, rabbit hole. Ugh. Um but I thought uh that was interesting. Being present. Wow. I talk about this in the last video, and again I'm bringing it up. It was so important for me. I'm so glad that I was able to talk to Debbie about it, to ask her about it, like how she came to that, but then also to thank her for it, because um, it just feels so important. I started thinking about it, and it's like, you have a conversation with somebody important to you, or maybe not even not important to you, but sometimes you you look at them and you want, or you reach out to them, you extend yourself and you want their undivided attention, right? And you want 100% of them for whatever reason, but you don't get it for whatever reason, right? And then it leaves you feeling, maybe, I don't want to say less than, but it wasn't a whole experience, right? Because you could tell the person's maybe not listening, they don't care, or their attention is somewhere else, and maybe for good reason, right? Life is weird. We all have our own things that we're going through that seem extremely important. But then I kind of think just being present in the moment might be the most important thing. It was it was a very profound uh, moment when I really took that in, being present, and so I literally uh, was making sure, or trying my best, um, to be present in each and every moment, even if, like, from one conversation to another, I would just like go back into that space to make sure I gave the other person, or I did my best. There was a couple of times that I remember where like a certain thought popped in, mid conversation and it kind of pulled me this way. So I had to pull back. But yeah, just to be present, to give of myself what people are asking for, and that's my attention. You know, it's like when you put it on yourself, or when you think about like when that is given to you, how rewarding it feels, like, oh wow, this person actually cares, or you're such a great listener, or you feel grateful for having that moment, like, thank you so much for just hearing me. um I try to be like very aware of that and making sure that I was doing that. And it wasn't so much for them, but it's for myself, because that's I think that's important to me, to honor um people that way. Like if you're wanting, like, kind enough to ask for my attention, then I should give you all of it, right? And I think it's also honoring myself. Well, actually, I should say it's probably mostly for myself, because it's the person that I want to be. I want to be that present person. I want to be the person that's showing up 100%. And that's also an ongoing theme that I'll talk about later. But it was very important for me um, to be there 100%. Um, my old manager at work, she would always say, I remember the first time I brought up the word multitask, and she said, "We do not do that on this team." And I was like taken aback. It felt like I got kicked in the chest. Like, oh, I thought you would be proud of me being able to do 7 things at once. And I don't know where she heard it from. I think uh, it was a lady like Bryn Braun or something. I don't know. Bryn Brown. I don't know. But she says we think we multitask, but we don't. It's called switch tasking, where you just move your attention from one thing to another. And so she was saying, my manager was saying, I want you to um be focused all the time. And I was like, wow, what a thing to say. That was so like mind blowing, but for me it felt true, to be present. Well, at that time I didn't use the word present, but to be 100% there in that moment. There's like um, another saying that I always thought like felt good to me was, be where your feet at. Be where your feet are at. And so it's just interesting that um, Debbie's theme of being present was a great reminder of not trying to multitask. You know, I feel like I untrained that out, or trained that out of myself. Um, I always, not always, I don't like to speak in absolutes, but I try to remind myself a lot to say, be where your feet are at. You know, um, and so it was really good. Um, it was really good to have that brought back to the forefront, and then to really focus on it. I'd noticed, like, it just felt like a lot of change that happened, and revelations and transformations happened because of that one theme of being present, being where you are 100%. So I was really thankful for that, and I don't know why I can't stop bringing that up. Um, building another thing that happened was like building relationships with new people. Um, there was this guy. I won't like he's not on YouTube. They're not on YouTube, but there was there was a married couple there, and the wife. this man's wife brought him to the retreat. I don't think he's like really he's very respectful of what happens, but I don't think he was like 100% in um this space um before he got there. But when he left there, I think he was 1000% in. And it was really cool to watch him, to watch. It was almost like watching a baby grow before your eyes into a man. And it partly reminded me of how I was on the first retreat in a way, because our experiences are unique to ourselves, and so we all see things a little bit differently, right? But nice to it was nice to watch innocence transform. He came here with he came here open, and he left wide open. He was open-minded, but when he left here, he was wide open. It was just so fun to watch this man go through all of the things he did. Um, everybody, I don't want to say everybody because I don't know for sure, but a lot of people were so happy for him and his wife, beautiful woman. Um, but yeah, it was really good to like meet people like this couple, um, see old people, not old like old people, but like people from the first retreat that we didn't get to really uh talk to so much, but you know, because we all went through this together, we have like this bond. It's kind of strange, but like when you go through a process with somebody there next to you, you can't help but feel like a kinship to them, right? Um, so there's certain people that went that I wasn't that weren't in my group, so I didn't really move with them per se. But in like lunch or just hanging out, waiting for an event to start, you talk to people, and you come back and you get to like rekindle relationships, or for me also is building like stronger relationships. So like with Terry and JJ and Nicole, they were part of my like circle that I moved with. Well, JJ was outside of my circle, but like JJ and I are like old friends. I think Kevin said brother and sister at one time, but yeah, we just moved differently. But then to come back and to uh, build those bonds even stronger um, in a short amount of time too, like really a week. A week doesn't seem like a lot of time, but I think the amount of energy that was placed into the moments where we were able to like really connect, um, and share space with each other. Um, yeah, it just made for a really great time, to I don't know, it's just interesting because it's like you walk through fire with people, because you're having like a transformation or a breakthrough, and you can't help but feel close to somebody because they helped you walk through the fire. Um, but maybe I should change that because it's like I just had this thought of I think in yeah, well, in the first video, whenever you watch this, in the first video, I talked about um having transformation without the trauma. That's what the retreat was like. So, which I do feel like being at this retreat was like having transformation without the trauma. Like you didn't have to suffer physically to be able to walk through it or pass through it. Um, it came up through meditation or conversation. Um, but then having people there with you to help maybe guide you through it or just hold your hand through it, through the experience. Um, I mean, you can't help but feel close to somebody because of it or grateful. I mean, it, I don't know. My mind just works this way. It's like going through war with somebody, and maybe that's not an appropriate analogy right now, but I mean, I don't want to say I'm a guy, but I think I have like masculine tendencies of thought, and it just feels like when you go through something um so strong and impactful, like the people that you go through it with, you feel a connection to or a bond. Like maybe I'll just stop there before I get myself in trouble. But yeah, basically, it's uh it's really good to have these experiences and learn new people, but then, to walk away from it, not like, oh yeah, I met Sally at the store, cool person. Um, no, it's like, wow, Tom is a great guy, and I feel so thankful that he was next to me when I had a revelation. His softness, um, the way he extended himself, but not overextended himself. Like he gave me space. Like Tom is a great guy. And I feel really close to Tom. That's the kind of of moments that we had, but with many people, not just one person or well, for me. This is my experience. I should let other people talk about their experiences. But that's what I was thinking. Um I guess another thing that was pretty cool that we did was we had aura readings, and I don't know why. I was just blown away by it because, you know, I don't know, maybe it's like when people it was almost like when people do tarot readings or like throw me a card and then you see the card and you're like, yeah, 10 of wands. Oh, and then or like, ooh, I got the lion card or from the oracle deck or whatever, it's like just something physical and tangible. And for some people it hits differently than when like the psychic says you're going to come into some money or you're going to get a new job that at the end of summer, and you're like, all right, cool, whatever. But then when you see it like something physical or tangible, you're like, wow, that's cool, I feel good. And so it was kind of like that when I got my aura reading, when I saw the picture of myself, or I guess it's myself, I felt, wow. And then I was like, what does it mean? And when Jamie was the aura, I think they're like an aura reader. Um, but she read the aura, and then I was like, oh, wow. I was It hit weird. It hit differently. Um, but this is like going into like reoccurring themes. So when she gave me my reading, um, it hit differently because, well, maybe because she was a different person. I don't know why, but this theme kept coming up where, I meet somebody at the retreat and they're like, "Oh, wow, there's something about you that's different. Like your aura is so big, like you have this like presence about you and you're a big guy, but like you extend past your body or you're so nice, you're kind." Like I don't want to sound like a weirdo or a narcissist or something, but it really was like a theme. And like, "Oh, you're so powerful. I feel like safe with you," or you're such a good healer. Like I feel healed just by hugging you. And like this kept coming up a lot. And um it came up again in the aura reading. And like you're excited to hear like, "Yeah, this is me." And then when it kind of sinks in, you're like, "Whoa, I don't know about this." And it's not because I didn't believe her or anything, but I think these things happen for a reason. And I guess what I could say is this is probably the biggest reason why I probably came to Sedona. Uh, the second one was because I've carried this narrative with me that um, basically, whenever I heard something like that, I would deny it and I would dismiss it. Maybe on the outside, I wouldn't sometimes. A lot of times I would, and it was almost like, "Oh, don't be humble." And it was like I would deny it because I always felt like I wasn't worthy of it. And I'm not special enough to be that kind of a special person. And I carried that with me for so long. And it was I think it's been a journey. And I remember like Kevin talking to me about it a while ago, maybe 2 years ago. And he's like, you know, you have he's like, "You're different. You're a very powerful healer, but you have to like move into that." And I just remember like not accepting that. And it was like every time I talked to Kevin, this would come up. Then um I talked to Debbie and this would come up. And I just refused to acknowledge it. And it was because I didn't feel special enough. I didn't feel like I was worthy of being that kind of person because I wasn't good enough. And yeah, listening to other people say it, it was yeah, it was interesting because I always found myself like, "Oh no, no, no. That's not no, no." Or I just got lucky, or whatever, right? Like I would make an excuse not to accept who I am. And um at this event, I chose differently. I got the reading, amazing reading, everything was spot on. Um or everything was what she said was reiterated by everybody else. And once I got that reading, I started to like lean into it a little bit. And then I was like, maybe you should I realized what was happening, right? Like this is about me uh finding myself or not like denying it anymore. And so after that reading, um I kind of made the decision like you need to change this. Like this is something that you don't need to carry forward anymore. Because it was like nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever said like, "Oh, you're stupid." Well, like, "You're not good enough, you're not special, you're worthless." Nobody ever told me that. I told myself that for whatever reason, and it's probably just, obviously to protect myself. But then it's like, how do you protect yourself when you're telling yourself something so bad? Like, you're not special, you're not worthy, you're not good enough. You know, it's like we always look to the outside, like, oh, it's this person's fault. They're the ones that screwed me over or like scorned me, or they traumatized me. And I don't know, like, it's kind of sad to be your own perpetrator, to be the abuser to yourself. It was, I don't want to say shameful, but it was just really unfortunate that, like, there was no reason for me to create this storyline for myself and to hold myself back from being like 100% me, being whole, all of me, like owning that, being proud of that, or I don't know, just being that. But yeah, so that aura reading was like the start of it. Um, it was interesting because it's like, how we move is so strange because, like, so after that the seed was planted. Like, you gotta stop this. This is enough, right? Like, it's time to move forward. It's time to like end these storylines. And then, you know, I let it go. The next day happens, and I'm going to the stupa. I didn't want to go to the stupa. My feet hurt so bad. Um, I think I had a no, not I think I had a crack in my heel. We're barefoot all the time, and I don't know. I don't know. Probably because you know I'm a big person, but yeah, it's just this constant, like, being on my feet. I'm an IT, so I'm sitting in a chair all day. I'm not used to this kind of movement and stuff like that. And you know, I'm like lifting tables and gongs and helping set up and everything, and I'm just like moving like crazy. And so, like, my body broke down, and I felt so tired. I was exhausted, and it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm exhausted. And so I didn't want to go to the stupa because my feet hurt. I have a crack in my heel, and it hurts to walk, and I'm just tired. And so I talked to Sonia, the person that runs the facility, and I'm like, "Can I please just stay here while everybody goes? Like, I'll just sit in the corner and, write in my book like I always do." She's like, "Oh, yeah, 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 go ahead." And then I was like, "All right, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go, like, disappear, like, sink into the wall like I normally do, you know?" And, JJ and Terry found me and Nicole, and they're like, "Come on, let's go. We're going to the stupa." And I can't say no to them. So I ended up going to the stupa reluctantly. But then, like, when I got there, I didn't feel any pain. I wasn't exhausted anymore. And it's where the second part of this uh change happened, because Terry had explained to us, like, there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's some rituals that you could do while you're at the stupa, like walking around the building. There's like a little mini temple, I want to say. It's probably not a temple. I don't know what it is. From JJ's house, her Airbnb, like, they had a view of the stupa from their backyard, and I was like, it looks like a pizza oven. There was like this little alcove or something that, like, from the vantage point that JJ had from her backyard, JJ and Terry, it looked like an outdoor pizza oven because you could see like this alcove, and then, like, I didn't see anything inside, but then there was like uh I don't know, it was like a tip. There's a tip to this building, and it almost looked like a vent, like a smokestack in a pizza oven, those outdoor pizza ovens. So I was like, "Oh, we're going to the pizza oven." But anyways, I digress. So you can walk around this thing like 3 times, and then she said you're supposed to walk with your inner child on one side and your future self on the other, and then the present you is the one in the middle, right, obviously. And so, remember I did it. So I was like walking this path, right? I started, and my inner child was on my left side and my future self was on the right, and we're walking around. We take one lap around, and then all of a sudden I feel my inner child leave. Like, there's no presence on my left hand or left side anymore. Gone. Okay, whatever, just keep going, right? Because you got to do three. I don't want to be the guy that, like, oh, what happens, you're not supposed to talk, guy, be quiet. So I continue the lap, the second lap, and when I get back to the beginning after the second lap, I felt my future self going away, and then I I got a message. Uh, it's my time to leave. It's my This is from like my future self. The message I received was, "It's my time to leave you." No, something like, "I'm going to leave you here. The rest of the journey is yours to make, but we will meet again." And then my future self just like faded away. There was no presence on my right side, and now I'm all by myself. So I finished the third lap, and I was like, I left the little thing, and then I started walking, and I was like pondering this for like a while. I was like, wow, that was a pretty interesting message. And then so I stepped to the side, and there's all these bricks or pavers on the ground. And as I'm getting closer to the pavers, I'm hearing a lot of noise. And I I thought it was odd. Like, why am I hearing all this noise in a place that you can't even talk, and it's supposed to be silent? And then when I got up to the pavers and I looked, and there were messages, for like loved ones that have passed on, or messages of hope, um, or gratitude. Um, and so I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool, to pick up the energy from these pavers or bricks that people had purchased, I guess, and placed there. Their intention is set in the brick. Y- To be able to hear that or feel it, I thought was pretty cool. And then I look up, and there's this huge statue of Buddha. And so I just start staring at it for like a while, like maybe a few minutes or so. And then I had this like feeling come forward, like it's time. It's time to let go of of like these old storylines. Like, it's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to step into yourself. Like, it just kept coming and coming, like you have to do this now. Like, we're ready. We're waiting for you. It's time to begin. And so I looked up at Buddha, or I was looking at Buddha. I think I was looking down when all of this was coming in, and then I looked up at Buddha, and inside of me I felt like, okay, I'm ready to take the step forward. And so in my mind I said, I will. And before I could finish my train of thought, then I feel this message come in, like, I know. I know you will. You've already begun. And the rest of the message was something like, you have to, like, just complete the process. The world is uh, the world will be a better place once you complete this process. Basically, was kind of like, because it's not like spoken, right? It's not like a spoke. Well, for me, it's not like a spoken word where it's like I'm audibly like, what is he saying? It's just like a transfer of information. So like you just, well, for me, you just get like a push of like information or energy, and within the energy there's like a message, but the message is like a knowing. And so like most of the time very few words are said, and it's up to me to translate the feeling, right? That's what I experience for the most part. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to say spoken word, but there's more words that are sent and not just a feeling, or like a forward sentence or something like that. Sorry. But yeah, so basically, like that's where I decided to, like, I made my pact with Buddha, and decided to take the next step, to like acknowledge who I am and not deny it anymore, and um not feel unworthy, or not feel special enough to be the person that I'm supposed to be. Um, I started crying again, but it was quick, and I mean, I understood what's going on. I mean, to be in the presence of Buddha and in a sacred place like that, it's kind of emotional, and it's kind of, I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's a lot, right? So, um, same day. Fast forward, I think we had a little break. Yeah, we had a little break for lunch and stuff, and then I went back with JJ and Terry and Nicole, and we're just talking and stuff like that. And then we go back to the facility, and there's this ceremony where Kevin has this humongous feather, and we hold this feather. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeffrey was the one. I think it was Kevin's feather, but Jeffrey took the feather, and he's like, "What are you?" Or what? I think his question was, What? Um, gosh, what moment has stuck out to you, or something like that from the retreat, or something along those lines?" And so he said what he said while holding the feather, and then he passed the feather around. So it's like when it was your turn, you'd receive the feather, and then you would say, like whatever it was. And it was such an awesome moment, because like everybody opened up, and you could tell, like, people, I don't want to say threw caution to the wind, but I mean they let it go. They, I don't want to use the word exposed, but they really opened up and became vulnerable. And I think that's what made it so special, was because everybody allowed themselves to be vulnerable. And they, some people were very emotional because the breakthrough was so big. A lot of people felt grateful for having a space where they could be themselves, um, where they felt comfortable with being around other people for the first time, or in a long time, or forever. But yeah, it was very profound. You could really feel like people, I don't know if surrendering to the moment is the right phrase, but they really put themselves out there, and I think everybody was rewarded for it. So like, when somebody like really opened up, like you could feel it, and you could feel everything, where they were coming from, where they were going, how proud they were of themselves, or the gratitude that they felt, like all of it just came through because people allowed themselves to be open and vulnerable and be present. So the feather went through the room, and then when it got to me, as soon as I grabbed the feather, it felt like I was being guided. I had this like presence like come to me, and then it was like I felt like this. I had this knowing like you need to get up and walk to the middle of the room. I mean, man, that was something because I'm the guy that like hides in the back of the room or like sinks into the wall so nobody can see me. I mean, I'm the biggest guy there. How can you disappear? But I try to find a way to do that. Sometimes I'm really good at it, of becoming invisible. It's like a superpower that I once had. But anyway, I had this feather in my hand and I felt like guided, almost compelled that I needed to walk to the middle of the room in front of everybody and complete this ceremony. And it just felt like ceremonial, like I'm doing a ceremony to walk into myself. And so like some of the words that were coming out, it was almost like a channeled event. Like I'm not a channeler. Well, I should say um because I let go of old storylines. Um it felt like a message was coming through that I needed to speak out. It's probably a better way to put it. So I felt guided to go to the middle, so I did. And then I felt the importance to say that I'm coming to you now as me. 100% me. No veils, no walls, no protections. Um and it was just 100%. I'm going to own this. Um and it was like no longer am I going to deny who I am uh, or what I am. I'm just going to be that person. And it was like it was ceremonial, like a passing, like a boy becoming a man kind of thing. Um, that's what it felt like. I said a few more things that I kind of was. It wasn't my like it was my message, but it wasn't my message, kind of thing. In I don't know. I just remember looking at Kevin, Debbie, and Jeffrey, and being thankful for them to provide this space for me to grow and transform, but also for not giving up on me. You know, um, it's almost like a broken record, right? Like, hey, come on, you're supposed to do this, but you're not listening. But then they never said, "Oh, whatever, if he gets it, he gets it." They just kept saying, "Hey, you're supposed to be doing this," and with love and compassion, and also with friendship, right? The message was always the same, and the intent was always the same. Like, "Hey, friend, you're supposed to be doing this. Um, just embrace it." And so I felt grateful for them for maintaining that when they didn't have to, because I wasn't listening or I wasn't ready to accept it, or you know um, whatever it was. But in that moment, I did, and moving forward, nothing was the same after that. And I think that was my greatest experience, was walking into myself, no longer denying um, who I am as a person, but knowing also that I am worthy of being whatever it is I want to be, and I am special enough um, to be that person, uh, to be the person that helps heal people or brings comfort or safety. Um, that's me. So it was really cool. It was really cool to do that. Um, I think I better wind this down before it gets too long. It's already almost an hour, but um, I think if I was to compare the two retreats. I think retreat one was about opening the door to what my possibilities were. And then the second retreat was clearly to walk through the door and become the person that I was supposed to be and be okay with it, right? So the worthiness, being special, um, and walking as that person that I wrote on my life path to be. Um, so I think that was really good. So am I a changed person because of it? I know that I know that just because you have an experience and stuff like that, it doesn't make you a changed person, right? I think because we live in moments and experiences, you won't be the same or react the same in every moment. Uh, but I think because my awareness has shifted, my perception on things have is different. Like I rewrote my story in Sedona, and so I think it's safe to say that I am different. I mean, I walk differently, I see differently, and I feel a little different. Like physically, I feel different. It was almost like I couldn't understand why. Like I was in so much pain physically. I was in so much pain. My feet, my legs, my back during the retreat. And I just thought, oh, it's because you're fat. um, because you're not used to moving so much, you're not in good shape, all this stuff. But part of it feels like my body was creating a different human being in this process at Sedona because, like, spiritually, I changed, I evolved. Um, I even walk different. Like my I hold my chest up a little bit higher, and just because of that, the world looks completely different than when it did before. When I like slouched and looked out the ground, um, because I didn't want to like look at somebody in the eyes or something like that, where I just wanted to hide a little bit to protect myself, but I don't feel the need to anymore because the storyline's gone. Because the storyline's gone, I can I can be whoever I want to be or be the person that I'm supposed to be. So I think I am changed. I think the last thing I'll say is, with this change, you know, a lot of people were talking about how, you know, the re-entry process, that's what we called it, the re-entry process, like how do we come home? And, there were people had trepidation about it. People were kind of worried, or there's maybe a little anxiety, and I felt the opposite. I felt excited to come home, to be this new person, to see what it's like and have those experiences, and to like be present as much as possible. I don't like to speak in absolutes, so I won't say always, but as much as possible to be 100% me. But I found it interesting as I was packing to go home. I felt like I don't want to bring this stuff home. Like this represents the old me. And why would I want to carry that? Why would I want to carry the old me and bring it back home? And um so I ended up leaving like half of my things there in Sedona, and I thought, like, I just had this feeling like you have to leave it here. You can't take it home with you. And so I did. I left like half of my stuff there. My suitcase was lighter, um, literally lighter than it was when I came to Sedona. And then once I came home, I remember I just felt like I needed to cleanse myself. I don't know why, but I mean, the first thing I did was like I got in at midnight. So the first thing I did was I shaved. I shaved my head. I cut my hair, cut my fingernails. I brushed my teeth. I showered. Like I took a long hot shower, and it was just so important to get that off of me and be new here. It's I don't know. It was pretty wild. I don't know. I don't. My That might be unique only to me, but that was that was the feeling I had. I left my stuff there. I came home. I felt like I needed to cleanse, and I went to town, shaved my head, shaved my face, and cut my nails, and took a long shower, and brushed my teeth and everything. And I woke up differently. I woke up differently. My feet didn't hurt. My legs weren't tired. They were tired. Um, they were tired most of the trip. They hurt most of the trip. And when I woke up the next morning, they didn't hurt. I still feel tired. I feel like I'm in recovery uh, of a big boxing match or something, but I feel good. Maybe maybe it is the right time to speak about this because I feel like I'm in a good place to speak about it, like in this moment, in this present moment. But I think I'll leave it here. Um, Thank you for listening. Thank you for those of you that were with me. Thank you for helping me through my journey. JJ, Terry, Nicole, Tom. I won't say everybody's name because not everybody's on YouTube or wants to be out there like that. But Kevin, Debbie, Jeffrey, um, Kimmy. There's so many of you. I apologize to the people that I didn't name, but I want to respect certain people's, well, everybody's privacy that don't put themselves out there on YouTube like that. But I couldn't be this person. I couldn't have found myself or had the transformation that I did uh, without your help or encouragement or guidance or just your presence. Um, Terry, I told you how I felt about you and what you represent to me in this trip, but also you were like that in my last trip, and so was Alice, Alice Leong. You guys were like the safe space. You guys were like the mother that I wanted to have as a child. But for whatever reason, I didn't. But I felt safe with just being in your presence, and it allowed me to open up to get me to the place where I am today. And JJ, um, tremendous friend, probably the greatest friend. Well, actually, I shouldn't say greatest, but I have a lot of good friends. Um, and then Jeffrey for creating this event, and Debbie and Kevin. I think if I could leave like one last aha moment is I don't see I don't see them as idols anymore, like people on pedestals, or I don't want to say I don't look up to them anymore, but I don't look up to them anymore. I I look across to them. I see them as equals and as human beings. So maybe it was my fault. Maybe I put like it's unfair of me to do that, but it was interesting having shared dinner with them. And I just remember looking at Kevin and feeling like, oh, I see you differently now. Like you're I see you as a friend and as a brother. And it was the same for Debbie. Well, Debbie's not a brother, but I see her I see her as a friend and a good friend, both of them, all of them. But I really thank all of you for being a part of my journey. Um, I'm excited to see what the future brings, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm very excited for what's to come. Um, I know I know I ended the last trip with, or the last video with God, I can't even think. It was basically like, is the retreat important? Like, do you have to do it? And my answer was no. Clearly, you don't have to do it, but I mean, if you could, to feel like whatever you're supposed to transform from, to feel that and feel it in a safe space. Um, I hope everybody has the opportunity to make the transformations that they really want to. Um, this retreat really really helped me get there and safely. I didn't have to like get beat up or um, go through hardship or anything. I just had to be present and be willing to go through it. But then there were so many people to help me through it. You know, I wish that for everybody. I really hope that everybody has a chance or opportunity to have the transformations that they're seeking. Um, because I had so many, and I feel so blessed because of it. Um, but I promise, this is it. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who to help me through this process at the retreat. Thank you to those who um, are just stayed and watched and listened. Hopefully, if it wasn't entertaining, then you got something out of it. Oh, Sal Rods, thank you for the cookies. Uh, I ate them all, and it was great. And it was I used it for inspiration. So every time I wrote, I would have a cookie or three, and it was amazing. You're very good. You're very good. You should sell them. I will order them from you if you if you want to sell your cookies. But thank you everybody, and I'll see you on the next video.